Okay, today I'm going to show you a quick tip on how I mount some of this old Chris-Craft hardware. This is a 19-foot Chris-Craft Capri, and it's not completely done yet. The deck still needs a little bit of work. It needs 4 coats of varnish, and it needs the deck seams to be installed. But the owner decided on getting the hardware re-chromed. So I have all the chrome laid out on the table here, and before I send it to the plater, this is just a judgment call. I could finish the boat completely and then go ahead and mount all the hardware, but I think it's a lot easier to mount it before it's completely done. That way you don't end up scratching the finish and worrying about little scratches here and there as you're mounting this, because it does take a little bit to do. You know, I have to drill holes in the deck for the vents. I have to drill the holes for the mounting hardware, mount the windshield, bow light, lifting rings. So that scratches up the finish a little bit. And I've done it before where the varnish was, you know, the boat was completely done, and it's kind of nerve-wracking. You have to lay towels and stuff on the deck, and this way you don't have to worry about that. And you could, I could put these wherever I want and mount them and not worry about the scratches. So the tip that I wanted to show was some of this old hardware is through bolted, and this is the port vent on this side. The hole's drilled. Now this is a brand new deck, so it doesn't have any of the old holes through the top of the deck, but I left them in the framework below the deck. So for instance, this has 3 ⅛ machine screws that hold this vent down, and I left the old holes in there, and instead of just taking a 1/4 inch drill bit and just drilling from below up through here, the chances that it'll line up exactly with these holes aren't very good. And who knows, this vent could have been a little bit skewed to begin with. So this way, when I go to mount these, I'm going to line them up so it's exactly between this deck seam here. Now for instance, these holes were a little bit off too when it came to the deck seams. So for instance, I did take a drill bit and drill from below on this aft vent hole. Now this is a 3-inch hole. It was a little bit off center, so I just put a 1/4 inch plug in it. Now I could drill right through the center and center that hole upon these 2 deck seams. So you have a little bit more control when you're on a new deck locating this, instead of just relying on those old holes that are in the old framework beneath the new deck. So on this back one here, I did take a 1/4 inch drill bit, or actually I took an 1/8 inch drill bit. I drilled straight up through there. It was a little bit off center. I didn't like that, so I just plugged it with an 1/8 inch dowel, centered it, and then I ran my 1/4 inch drill bit, actually 1 over a 1/4 inch, so there's a little bit of clearance for that 1/4 inch machine screw, and it still lines up with the original hole underneath. Now that I have that, like I said, instead of relying on those 2 holes from below to come up and meet these, this is the whole reason I'm making this video. It's not a big deal, but it's just a little tip that I do. That I came up with. These are 1/4 20. They were probably just machine screws, and I took and put a point on there. It's a crude point with a grinder, and what I do is I just run these through. I put these in the original holes here, and very simple. I'll just take the back one, put it in. So this is lined up. This back fin here is lined up right in the center of between these 2 deck seams, and I'll just take a scale. I already did it. Line it up from here to here. Press down a little bit. I made 2 little indents there, and then I'll go through and just drill my 1/4 inch drill bit through there, and then bring the machine screws up to hold that cleat on, or the vent. And that's how I did this flag mast mount and these other vents here, and that's probably how I'll do the bow light also. So that's the tip. It's just these little quarter 20 machine screws that I ground a point on the end and cut them down, and I keep them in here. So that's the quick tip for today. I wanted to add something to this video. I watched back the video I made on this, and I think I may have made it sound like this hardware, like I was mounting it for good, and then I'm going to put another 4 coats of varnish on it. But what I'm doing is I'm just locating all this hardware, because this is a new deck. There's no holes, or there weren't any screw holes or vent holes in the boat. So before I send all this hardware out to be chromed, I just wanted to locate it. Once I get all this on the boat and located, I'm going to take all the hardware off and send it into to get chromed. And another thing that I may not have been clear on was the holes that were existing beneath the deck in the framework. And I'm just going to go in the boat here and show you what that looked like. There's framework, it's 1-inch mahogany. I'll put the camera under here, and you can see where the machine screws are. So those holes I left alone, and then I drilled the back one, the aft hole, up through there, and if it was centered, I went ahead and used those little pointed machine screws, and I put them into the vent there, and then made the indents, and then drilled down with the 1/4-inch drill bit. So I just wanted to start the camera back up and explain those couple of things. Okay?